if someone is constantly posting on social media and they're not selling something or they're not advertising something, that's usually a sign that this person is looking for outside validation. A lot of times people attract the type of people they attract because of where they are with themselves.
Like
so the red flags are always there. Like it's just that people choose to ignore them for whatever reason.
You know, what do you think is best when going into it, when it like, you know, with online apps and online dating? Because I feel like people struggle, one, because their confidence isn't where it needs to be, and if you don't have a strong confidence to go into something like that, and you're gonna be judged by people you don't know, it can really mess your head up. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're someone who's really vulnerable and open and wear your heart on your sleeve, and you know you go into a situation online dating and you really start meeting, connecting with people, and then tomorrow they go on to the next one, and you're like, my life is over. You know, oh my God, we connected so well. So what are some things you can tips you can give us online dating people who may be in a bind, who may not be in a situation where we don't love ourselves first as much as we should, or we're seeking things from other people. Like it's some things we could do to make sure that we always see ourselves first.
Yeah, before you start dating, I think it's important to know who you are and have a high level of self-esteem, have self-confidence and all of that. So that's very important before anyone start dating. So if you don't feel like your self-confidence is where it needs to be, then maybe you shouldn't be dating at the, right now. But I think again, I believe in dating the organic way more so than online. But you can just read through certain people's profile and try to weed out people, try to filter out the people based off what they're writing in their profiles. Like if everything they write is I don't want this, I don't want that, and they're not talking about more so what they want, that's probably a negative person. So that's one sign that lets you know that it's probably a negative person. Why is they always talking about the things that they don't want? But what I would recommend for online dating is definitely a paid website, because you know that this person is investing into finding love, so they're probably more serious than someone that's on like a free website. So definitely a paid, the websites that you have to have a paid membership.
You're speaking the truth tonight. If y'all just now tuning in and you happen to just click a button, this is Coach Nick Love. We're talking about some amazing advice, especially advice nowadays when it comes to dating. I'm just trying to get scenarios and things like that, because people are running into situations and they're relying on social media for help, and they're relying on social media for validation, and to me, it's breaking people down because they're going into situations not ready for it. Like they don't know themselves and they're out here dating random broken people. It's like broken people dating broken people. Like it's like how do you prepare yourself for dating when you know you have baggage and you want to move on, but sometimes you don't know how to deal with the baggage you have. That's a big thing. Like people have baggage. Everybody has baggage, right? Like how do you go into dating with the baggage you have, and one, like be honest about it, because some people don't want to tell you, and you don't know, and you be ready to choke somebody up. Like how do you go into situations with baggage and be and still be dating successfully? I guess that's what
I think when people are dating, you want to date and you want to be curious about the person that you're dating. So you want to ask all the questions that are important to you. So whatever it is that's like maybe like your red flags or things that you learned from your past experiences, make sure that you doing relationship inventory on your past relationships. And so when you meet new people, you are asking those questions that you need to ask them that that are important to you. So it's we all have baggage. If someone said they don't have baggage, they're not alive. So we all come with baggage. We all have baggage. So it's just definitely working on healing yourself before you put yourself back out there for dating. So you knowing yourself and making sure that you know you are ready. I think a lot of times people attract the type of people they attract because of where they are with themselves. We only like attracts like. That's universal law. So if you're not together, you'll probably attract other people that's not together. So I think you only can be successful at dating once you get yourself together. And I can say, like, when I hear a lot of people say there's no good men out there, or I have a bad experience with dating, and I don't have any bad experiences with dating. And I used to be a serial dater, and I've dated some great men. And it's all about, because before I start dating, I always did the work that I needed to do on myself to prepare myself to be ready to date.
You were ready for the experiences that were to come because you knew that at the end of the day, what your ultimate outcome was for yourself in general. Like, it wasn't about what I wanted with someone, what I wanted for me. And I think that was most important, like what you wanted for yourself, because I feel like going into things, people have an ideal, think about what they want. Like, I want this, I want this type of person, I want this type of situation, I want it to be like this. But the reality is, it may never be any of that. So can you handle it not being any of that? And what do you do outside of that?
Yeah, and a lot of people go on dates, and they always ask themselves after the date, oh, I wonder if this person is into me, and they don't ask themselves, do I really like this person? They're always thinking about the other person, but no, like, do you like them? Have you actually looked at this person and processed, like, everything that you talked about on a date? Because sometimes once we process it, we be like, oh, you know what, this person is probably not the type of person that I want to date. So it's all about knowing yourself and knowing what you want. Dating with a purpose and being intentional when you're dating.
Dating with a purpose and being intentional. Y'all better be writing this down. You better be lucky it's recorded. So before we get on to our last topics that we have to talk about for the Alti, we got to get some questions from you. Sort of a little different segment, sort of a little different thing, but we like, do our little thing. I want to know some red flags that people should be looking for when it comes to dating, because I feel like people sometimes see the signs and they don't really pay attention to it, and sometimes they don't know because they have never experienced it. So what are some key red flags that we should be looking for when we're dating out in the streets?
I think something that you mentioned, like when you said people are looking for outside validation, if you notice that someone that you're dating is constantly posting on social media, and that if someone is constantly posting on social media and they're not selling something or they're not advertising something, that's usually a sign that this person is looking for outside validation. So that's saying that even if you got into a relationship with this person, they still going to be looking for that once you get into a relationship. So that's a major red flag for me. Like, if someone is constantly looking for that outside validation and looking for the likes and all of that, or sympathy. Some people make certain posts and they're looking for sympathy. So I would say that's a major red flag. So pay attention to that.
Someone shows you who you really are, believe it.
That's right. Because for me, I always say that people don't betray us; we betray ourselves when we don't pay attention to the signs in the beginning. So the red flags are always there. Like, it's just that people choose to ignore them for whatever reason. But stop ignoring the red flags. We all have our own barometer, so we all know what are our red flags, because we all have, different things that's going to trigger certain things in us. So just make sure that when you see a red flag, make sure you become curious about it and ask those questions to the partner.
When you see the flags out there signaling the plane, you better look at the color and let them know if it's red. You better look into it. Pay attention. Open your eyes. See, like my glasses with no lens. Pay attention. So one last question before we move on to what I want to move on to. Nick Love, where did this come about? What made you choose this name? Like, how did it come about for you?
Well, my first name is Nick, and love is my religion. People ask me, like, well, what's your religion? My religion is love, because I religiously love. So I just said Nick Love, because I teach people how to love themselves and prepare themselves to enter into a partnership and love their partner.
I like that. Wow, that's a great segue.
Thank you.
Cool. So if you didn't get a chance to, get any questions asked, you can always reach out to him. This was an amazing interview. So before we get done, we got to get some little tea from you. So for Alti, right now with the Homos team, I want to know, question number one. If you had all the money or power to do anything most to help the LGBT community, what would it be?
I would open up a shelter for youth where they could come, they can get some life skills. I would help get them in school, because, the LGBT homeless youth is on a rise. So definitely do something with the homeless youth that are out there. Help give them the skills that they need so they can be successful in life.
I like that. There's definitely an epidemic of, teens who are definitely in the dire need of help. Yeah, especially the youth. The youth are our future, and I feel like if we flash forward 10 years from now, we'll be in trouble, but people don't really realize that. And that's how I look at life. Like, we got to instill in them and put things into them so that 10 years from now, they can then return the favor and do the same thing like a will. Like I said,
Absolutely.
We can get
I
these
agree.
shelters done. We can get the mentalities changed. And the next question is this: we call this deepest tea. So the deepest thing you've never told anyone else.
Oh, that's it. Okay. I was late losing my virginity. I lost my virginity when I was 19. So that's considered late for a lot of people. I know my friends, they be like, "Oh, really?" But so, yeah.
I applaud you. High five to you.
Public.
High five to you. I was 18, and I was with that person for 5.5 years. So, I feel like at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with the people. It depends on the two people that are involved. And if it was something that you wanted to do with that person, then it was worth it. I feel like giving it up when it's not something you really want to do is what sucks, because you have that opportunity either taken away from you for some people, unfortunately, or you waste that opportunity on somebody who's not worthy or deserving of it, and then you feel some type of way after, which affects your sex life a little bit afterwards. And that's the part that people don't realize, that it does affect you mentally once you physically enter the world of sex. So yeah. So as we wrap up, is there anything that you can say out there, like one last and not least thing for those people out there who, may have been hurt or may have been, went through some things and at a place in their life where they feel like love doesn't exist anymore? Because your name is Zick Love, and you teach people how to love themselves. I feel like that's where it starts. So is there anything you want to say to those people who may be watching, who may feel like love is all lost, like I'm over it, and, anything you want to, so anything you can say about that?
I would say nothing comes from without. All things come from within. So don't go searching for love from on the outside from other people. You have to love yourself first, and then you will attract the love that you need.
I like that. Yes, this has been like super powerful and awesome. I feel like it's gonna be played back to back every now. Like people are gonna, especially now, like the podcast and also some dope stuff that we're working on. I just feel like it's great that people can hear from an expert now. A lot of people say, dating is alive. I mean, dating is dead. Chivalry's dead. People don't really date. And, so the fact that someone's out here still helping people date the right way, making dating plans and doing things the right way, shout out to you, and keep doing what you're doing, because with you, we can help make, greater, long-lasting, sustainable within self-love and also relationships themselves. You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here again. And where can people find you if they want to find out more information about you?
They can find me on Facebook at Coach Nick Love, and on Instagram at Coach Nick Love, and on YouTube, Coach Nick Love.
Booyah. It's just that quick, just that easy, just like that, ladies and gentlemen.